Hi there. We got a little bit of wind, but it's a beautiful sunny day. So if this shakes or moves at all, don't worry. It's just the wind moving. You probably can hear the sound of the waves crashing along. I've got Buddy over here chilling. We've got Buddy Love doing his breath of fire. Hey y'all. So we're going to do something a little different. I invited Sophie to come on live with me. We're going to do a collaboration here because I feel like this would be a beautiful opportunity for us to bring a little bit more like, let's hold space for one another. Let's come together and recognize that, you know, I believe we can all contribute and serve one another. Obviously, I feel that way, or I wouldn't share my personal insights and what I'm going through emotionally with all of y'all. So I really believe it's important that we come together in a united environment where we're supportive no matter what anybody's going through. The whole purpose of Ridiculously Authentic is so that everybody can unite, come together, and feel like, wow, you know, I'm not being judged. I've got stuff going on in my life, but people are embracing and accepting me where I'm at. Because that's truly what it is all about, right? Is together we stand, divided we fall. And so, let me just see, we're gonna have a little twisting and turning over here, but I wanted you to get this beautiful view of the sea and me with the greenery. It's kind of cool though. I kind of like this spin in action a little. I won't move it too much if I can help it. So it is a beautiful day. I'm really excited. I'm always excited when I get outside and I move my body. And so some of the things that have come to my awareness in the past 24 hours since I did yesterday's live, you know, none of us are immune from the energies that are around us. So if it wasn't for my daily practice, my Kundalini, my meditation, my going within, my being comfortable with my own stuff, I would be totally unable to go out into public, out into the world. Because what I have found just going out in public places is that when I'm not solid in my own personal power, if I'm not checking in with my own personal truth, then it's coming out in my environment. So when I go out into the world, I'm being confronted with the stuff within me that I'm not confronting. So when I do my work on the mat and I shake, rattle, and roll whatever comes up, when I sit with the discomfort of whatever's going on up in here, I can handle it around me because guess what? All of what I encounter in my daily activities, it's all a reflection of the stuff that's going on within me. So the only reason it's exhausting is when it's not in alignment with my soul. And truly, when I do go out in public, yeah, things can be overwhelming, but the more I work on me, the more I'm able to hold the space and interact in those settings again, and to have the compassion for others because I had it for myself first. And I can recognize, ooh, I am that too. All of that stuff I see, I no longer let it affect me. And that's another reason why it's really good to wear your hair up and put a turban on, because you're going to contain yourself, claim yourself, and not everybody else's stuff. So men, for example, they say it's really good to grow your beard because this is your moon center. Your moon center is your emotional center, right? And for women, we have various moon centers. I do a pendulum. I've started doing it again to check my moon center. And as of this morning, my moon center is in my arc line. And so that's kind of a cool thing to be aware of. I'll have to do that in another video to explain more of the moon centers and how they affect us. But they each, you know, will tune us into different intuitions of our knowing, of our being. So again, with men, for example, it's good to have this protection around the chin because it protects your emotional center so you're not as, you know, disrupted by the things going on around you. Just like when we cut our hair, we're a little bit more exposed. But when our hair is loose, it creates an antenna with static electricity when it's Like my hair when it's down, it's moving, it's picking up all the vibes around me. It is like your extra antenna picking up those signals and the things that are going on around you. So I've always loved my hair long. I've tried short. I've gone really super short. Okay, maybe not too super short, but short enough that I said, you know what, I like my hair long. I can work with it. I can throw it up. It's easier. It doesn't require as much work in the morning as short hair used to when I had that. But I do notice when my hair is down, the difference in how I feel and what I pick up around me. Yes, I love my hair down. You know, there's that whole, oh, look at me, I'm a lion, I'm a lioness. So, of course, you know, it is all about my hair, which is my energy. It's like Samson and Delilah, right? You know, that there's the powers in the hair. And even the American Indians would tell you not to cut your hair because that is your power. It's one of the many, right? But sometimes we shed. We're going through transition like a butterfly. We have to shed the chrysalis. We have to break free and recalibrate and let go of some of the old past. And, you know, naturally your hair will break at points where it needs to. We don't technically need to cut it. It's just that we haven't learned to take care of ourselves the way our elders did, right? So, but one of the cool things I learned in Kundalini years ago was that Yogi Bhajan had this one particular workshop. The cigarette boats are out there racing, so if you can hear that noise, that's what that all is. I'll even let you see all that noise that's going on over there. They're off in the distance. There's a yellow one and a white one, and it looks like they're kind of racing. Buddy's even checking them out like, hey, what's up? So going back to this whole thing about the hair, that can be a little distracting. Did I lose my train of thought? Did anybody want to catch me and bring me back? That's one of the few times that happens sometimes. Interesting. Noises. I'm very sensitive to noise. So when I go out in public, a noise will really, like, different tones will, like, hit me and strike me like the chords, which is why I don't even listen to music like I used to. I do have times when I want to dance around my kitchen, as you know. I love to dance. It was my passion as a child. But in all honesty, to change up, there's music I can't listen to any longer, believe it or not. I can't listen to, you know, forget Stairway to Heaven. I think I've heard that so many times in my life, I've gotten a little bit like, oh, I can't handle it anymore. But, you know, it's funny because much of the music that we listen to brings us back to the memories of our past. And so that's how we associate with stuff is dealing with, you know, the past. And when you hear a certain song, what does it do? It brings you back into that, you know, the reminiscence, the melancholy, the whole, where was I at that time in my life? But these days, mantra because it's a higher vibration, because it sets a tone. And each of the different mantras that I like to listen to or chant or just hear around my home help to reset and recalibrate the house, recalibrate my space, to clear out energies that maybe are uninvited and unwanted, right? So, for example, Ad Sach, Jigad Sach, Habe Sach, Habi Sach, Nanaka Hosi Be Sach, or Ad Gure Namah, Jigad Gure Namah, Sat Gure Namah, Siddhi Guru Deve Namah. What that one does is protects you. I say it 3 times at least, or I'll chant it in my car. It's a great one to put this protection around your vehicle. I also drive around with a wand, a very large stick of selenite under my seat, just to protect and reinforce. But there's a lot of music out there you don't even realize brings down your vibration. There's a lot of things like we watch on TV that will totally bring your vibration down. And you have to choose and discern what is actually going to be brought into your space. And it's very important that people take personal responsibility for the energy they bring into a space. Because when you step into someone's space, you are influencing it, as well as that person, that space that you're going to. So if someone has a very sacred space and you're showing up with, let's say, obnoxious rap music, you're going to offset the tone. And so, you know, I mean, these are little things. It's respectful. It's carrying that respect for not just others, though. It's really for ourselves first. Like, as a woman, when I was younger, I didn't see the disrespect in all the Two Live Crew music. You know, I just thought it was a cool beat, and I used to like to listen to the beats. And I would actually dance with music versus listen to the lyrics. But as I got older, I was like, oh my gosh, now I know why my mother would get so upset. How disrespectful it was, not just to women, but to myself to even be listening and repeating it. And so that brings me to another thing I wanted to talk about before our beautiful Sophie hopefully will join us. I did not see an invitation button next to it, but I'll check in a second because my battery, I want to make sure we have enough space on here, time. So with men and women, one of the things I think that's been coming up very strongly lately is this whole masculine feminine, right? And I say this because I've been watching this for at least 4 or 5 years. I got this super strong insight into, you know, how, you know, we've had imbalances where feminine was higher than masculine, and we know that the whole masculine energy is like out of balance, but so is the feminine. So like it's this time when women are coming into their personal power and men are feeling a little uncomfortable too. But what people don't realize is it's balance. It's not one rising over the other. It's about bringing the balance back. It's not about a man being better than a woman or a woman being better than a man or the recognition being more on one than the other. It's about respecting one another, respecting men for their feminine and women for their masculine, and bringing balance within the person, the individual first, to spread that out to one another. I find that with myself, I had more of a masculine, like take charge, you know, be, do, prove myself, whereas the feminine has a softer tone, and it's taken me years to soften my tone, really. So what I've learned in my Kundalini teachings is that women want to feel desired and men want to feel respected. But the irony is that for a man to desire the woman, he needs to feel respected by her. And so there's this interesting dance and dynamic that plays within relationships, if we're talking man and woman in an intimate relationship, or even in a work environment, or a friendship. And women, we still, you know, sometimes that desire is a form of respect. Everybody's got their language and how that looks to them. So bringing that up, for example, I've noticed that it's very hard for a man to feel respected if they're not living up to their own ideal vision, belief of what they should be doing and how they should feel and how they should be presenting themselves in the world. So, and when we look at ourselves as being very hard on ourselves first, which many of us are, I mean, that's where criticism is very hard for some of us with a very strong mind and will, is that when someone else criticizes us, it's like, whoa, dude, don't be criticizing me. I'm already hard enough on myself. And this is men and women. But to embrace your gifts and your strengths and to appreciate yourself first is opening you up for that on the outside too, to bring that in from others. So again, men and women are both coming through this, what I see as a huge portal, a huge opportunity for all of us right now, where, you know, the idea that women may come over men or be more powerful than men, which it's really not meant to be one higher or better than the other. What it really is men owning their feminine, them being able to respect a woman for what she brings to the table, and vice versa. See, as women, we want to be desired. We also want to be appreciated for what we bring to the table. Now, we have different ideas about what it looks like. You know, for a woman, and especially the householders, women out there, your mothers, your wives, your sisters, your daughters, and at the same time you feel like you're doing it all, and it's hard for men to sometimes see that because they don't see what you do. And it looks like the masculine is rising more, but it's because of this unsettling feeling that they feel, see, it's power versus force, right? So power is innate within each one of us, and force is the appearance of having power. So the idea to me, to see masculine coming up like it looks like it's rising more, is the same thing as saying, well, the forces are coming up because they're fearful of the innate power within. And as women, we are nurturers. We have the womb. We create life. Now, of course, we can't do that without a seed. But the irony is they know how much power a woman really truly holds. But it's women that we haven't stepped into that power first to allow it to be honored and respected by men. You need to also, as a woman, own your personal power for a man to respect and desire you. But see, again, there's that push-pull, and it depends on how healed the man is and how healed the individual woman is. So this is what I have been feeling and sensing for years has been coming up. Okay, Sophie, we're going to invite you on in a second because I'm seeing your little green camera over there. And this is huge. This is huge because it's creating like discourse and uncertainty in relationships, where even myself, to come through this emotional seriousness this past couple days, I had to sit with it and go, I know it's not real. I know it's just emotion. Energy needs to stay in motion. And I don't need to attach to what's going on. I just need to let it be felt and fully feel it to heal it, to allow it to move, to recognize that nobody's going to hold a list over me to tell me what my value is. That list is not my value just because you did that. I also bring some pretty powerful stuff to the table. It's all perfect. And I own that. And for me to sit with that is to recognize, you know what, I am valuable and I don't need someone else to prove that or tell me that. And that's one other thing that I've noticed with men and women. A lot of times men want to feel like they contribute, whether it's money, whether it's as your provider, your supporter, your safety, your gatekeeper, your lover, your father, whatever that form is for them. If they don't feel they contribute, they will feel like they have to like prove something. And that's where I was talking about my dad. So for my dad to hold a list over me was because, like I said, it was this fear that, you know what, maybe I'm not good enough. I have to show something, so I have to bring it up every time because, in all honesty, his own self-worth and value is what is lacking within him to recognize that he feels he has to say something, even though I myself value and love him as he is. And I appreciate everything he's done. But to put shit in my face, I'll be right honest. Get that out of here. That's how I feel about stuff like that. It's like, whoa, I don't like that. That to me, it's unkind, unnecessary. But it's also, again, at the same time, this is how I work through this, that I can see that from my ego side that says, F off, you don't determine my worth. But the other part of me says, I have compassion and love for that person. Because you know why he's saying that? Because I see that within him is a pain and a suffering, that he doesn't feel worthy enough, that he has to prove and say something to put a value on himself. And so I really, truly honor it. And I see it as just as a nurturing, feminine woman that I'm not going to dislike or upset or get, I'm going to hold the space. I'm going to recognize that I'm a householder. Yogi Bhajan said, as women, we chose to be householders. What does that mean? That means we're doing a whole lot more that could ever be seen. And that ladies, he has this beautiful quote. He said, if women could see the universe within themselves because we house it, they would never question their value or their worth. But he's going to lay down. You want to see him standing up. This is our valuable puppy dog. Say hi, buddy. His buddy Love. And he's sitting, look at him with that beautiful sunshine behind him. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that pretty puppy. Woohoo! All right, so we're going to bring Sophie on. This is exciting. I haven't done this in a little bit, so let's see. Where is Sophie? Sophie, can you invite yourself? If you don't, I will try to find you in here. I know you're in here. Sometimes you got to scroll through these beautiful people. Oh, where'd it go? There she is. We're going to bring Sophie on about this because anything, there we go. We're bringing her on. So everybody, welcome Sophie to the broadcast. I've invited her. Uh-oh. It's a process. It truly is a process. Here she is. She's connecting. Hey, beautiful. Hi. How are you, honey? How's your connection? I probably should have made sure that you had a good connection.
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm going to turn up my volume.
Yeah, it's a little up and down at the moment. Hard to hear. Hang on. Just trying to figure out my volume here. Can you hear me all right?
I can. There's a little breaking up. Sometimes that's also a difference. I should have actually made sure. All right, so I should have been a little clearer earlier. Sometimes these things happen. It's okay. I will continue to share. When she is ready, we will let her add, and I will bring her back on. I have just been feeling that this is a subject that is not spoken about often enough, but it's coming up for a reason. The reason it's coming up is because we're meant to have these difficult conversations, and it takes a strong man who's open and willing to own even his weaknesses, especially with his woman or with women in general. Women especially that are influential and invited in, they're in their lives. So not too many men out there are strong enough in their feminine and their masculine and balanced enough to turn around and go, whoa, I got some stuff going on and it's difficult. And maybe I feel like you're threatening to me, or, I'm threatening to you. That's a conversation just in itself for men and women to have that is huge. Because sometimes that's the case. A man feels like he doesn't contribute enough, or he's valued, which is another form of respect. And so the man is like, oh, I don't know, this relationship, how do I even fit in if she doesn't feel like I contribute to her? When in reality, sometimes you can have that balance between the two. There she is. Is this better? And so, so when we're on our phones, sometimes we have to close down all our apps and things like that. But really, with the relationships between men and women, what's really powerful is when we can have the dialogue, we can have the open, receptive, conscious communication, because that is going to be the key to the resilience in all relationship, men and men, women and women. It's easier when women talk to women. We all know that. It wasn't always easy. I used to actually get along better with men, and I can't explain why, because I don't know. Maybe it was the whole relationship with my dad, and I honestly felt like my dad needed somebody to protect him. Is that weird? But growing up, when I was younger, because of everything that transpired with me and my sisters, I saw his weaker self. I saw that he wasn't strong enough. And for some reason, when I lived with my dad, when I was in my early teens, I felt like, well, my dad needs my protection. Is that crazy or what? For a younger woman, a young child, to feel like her father needs her protection. It's crazy, but that's how I felt. And I didn't feel like I had to protect him from my mother or my mother from my father. I really saw myself as like the peacemaker in my family. I really felt like I was, because I'll be honest, I heard the manipulation from both sides. Oh, you love your mother more than me. Oh, you love your father more than me. Like little bit of that Massachusetts accent, right, Cheryl? Right, Nikki? And honestly, I would look at both of them like, oh, listen, y'all got your shit. I love you equally. There is no better than the other. I love you exactly as you are with all of your faults. There is no competition here. There could never be competition. But just those statements in themselves say so much about them as individuals and their lack of self-worth and value. And so, yeah, that was huge. Just witnessing that in my dad was enough for me to recognize that, wow, he didn't have his own value. And that in relationships with another person, whenever I would encounter other men, I guess I partially looked for them to be the father figure, to show up where my dad didn't show up. But I was still that strong person that felt like I had to take care of everything and do everything myself because I didn't have other people that I allowed to take care of me. So, wow, yeah. And that's a huge difference, isn't it, Sophie, when you're raised by your father versus your mother? I mean, that's a completely different exposure. Do you want to try again, honey? Make sure you've got a strong signal. Make sure your other apps on your phone are closed. You may need to restart your phone, actually. That's what I usually do myself. And so when you go into relationships, I found, you have to check yourself and see what it is that you're bringing to the table. And that means all those bags, you know, what are you carrying on your shoulders? And do you got some guns? Yeah, I'm going to go there too. Really, do you have some guns? Because sometimes we're going in fighting already. And I did do that. I would go in fighting and didn't even know I was doing it. I would go in with this, I'm a strong woman. I wanted a man to show up for me, but I wasn't necessarily open and allowing them to show up for me, to support me in this way that would make me feel safe and secure. And I'm not even talking about money. I mean, like, literally to the point where I could say something to a man and I didn't feel like I had to act a certain way, that whatever I would say would be held sacred and not thrown in my face or used against me, like I said earlier about these lists. Because that is the beauty of relationship, when we come together and you can turn around, and to me, intimate relationship is super powerful because that's also going to be a reflection of where you're at in your life. And when you're in bed at night, curled up by the side of your lover, your beloved, and you look at them and you know that whatever you say, no matter what happens all day, that they love you unconditionally, no buts. I love you just as you are. As goofy and silly and sweet and make me laugh. I love every part of your soul, every part of you, because that's what makes you whole. And so we're always going to be evolving, we're always going to be growing, we're always going to be learning, shift, shaking, moving. And we have to learn to integrate that into our relationships with others. So this masculine and this feminine imbalance that we've had for so long is really about first balancing it within ourselves first. You know, if you grew up without your father or you grew up without your mother, there's going to be an imbalance because somewhere along the line you had to compensate for what it was that was lacking or missing in your life. And now it's like you're being called to step into your personal power as an individual. And that means embracing both aspects of you, male, female parts, masculine, feminine. It's all yin and yang. And when you are whole, it isn't that you're male or female or masculine or feminine. It really is that you're in this soul being. It's source first. It's let it channel through me. Let it wash over me. Let it just be. And feel that personal power and it being more pulsating outward, right? And that's what draws in. When you are in that perfect balance, and I'm not saying I can speak from personal experience that it's happened all my life, but it's been more so these years, people show up in your life that you're going, I was just thinking about that. You know, just a little bit ago, I was thinking about my girlfriends, and my one girlfriend that I was thinking about, she sends me out a text message and says, I was thinking about you. So it's funny, I was just thinking about you too. It is that those synchronistic events that remind you that, hello, the universe is listening. And it could be something that's on the other spectrum where you're going, oh man, I was just thinking that. I was thinking the worst scenario, and guess what just showed up in my life? See, that's where we need to check our thoughts. We need to go in the mind and go, okay, what is it that I'm ruminating over that I keep bringing toward myself? So here she is. We're going to try this again. So yeah, there's just so much juiciness. And we really, really want to embrace and be a part of this life fully, not partly. And that's all of us. That's why I like to say we have to integrate all the parts to make us whole. There she is, and that looks much crisper.
Hi.
There she is. What?
Is it working better now?
Much better. Much better.
Oh,
See?
awesome. Okay, good.
If at first you don't succeed,
There's so many things you're talking
again.
about.
Oh. Just when you thought you had it. It's okay. So, yeah, we're all trying to become one with one another, but first one within ourselves. So integrating all parts of us to make us whole, because that is the key to living authentically, to live in this space, to be able to sit in the chaos calmly, claiming yourself. We got to work on making life a little bit easier and stop doing things so darn hard. You know, you got to do things smarter, do them less harder. You don't have to keep up the fight, just shine your light. It's a divine dance, just give it a chance. And I'm making up the lyrics as I go along. I do believe that we are inspired. Inspiration. Breathing in and being breathed, right? So again, we are a toroidal being. The energy doesn't just go in one direction. It's all around us. It's going through us. From the top down, from the down up. It's going in these amazing spirals. It's going around and around. There is no linear. It's all multidimensional. And we are multidimensional beings. We are multifaceted beings. We bring so much to the table, we just don't see it, right? Sophie, we'll do it another time. We'll discuss a little bit further in the future. Did anybody else have anything they might want to join in and share? Who has any questions? Hi, William. Kristen, did you want to join? So I've been doing Kundalini Yoga since, my first class was probably in 2009 or 10. I started teaching because I just found that it was very beneficial to my life. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I've had to sit in the murky waters of my life and confront all of my crap. And I'm extremely grateful that I even stumbled upon it. You know, the very first time I found it was in 2006, 2005. I was living in Naples, Italy, and I just found it online. And when I found it online, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. Let me see what that says. Let's see. I'm going to tell you that the best thing I could say that you could do for anxiety and depression is to breathe. And especially if you ever go through severe anxiety, right? Left nostril breathing is one of the best ways to calm yourself and claim yourself, just to start. It's just a simple start. You close off your right nostril with your thumb and placing your hands palm facing to the left. You just breathe in and out the left nostril. This is a calming. Inhale in through the left and exhale through the left. Long, deep breathing. You do this for just a few minutes. It's going to allow you to calm your being, because this is the moon side. This is the side where our emotions are. You know, the moon center, the left side is the moon, and the right nostril is the sun. So just, everybody, if you're just sitting here right now with me, just breathe like this. Long, deep breathing. One thing I've learned with just doing the left nostril breathing is if you're in any type of fight or flight mode, you have any type of anxiety, frustration, this will calm you. And do it for as long as you need to. Even just deep belly breathing, like I like to remind people to breathe deeply into your pelvic floor and expand up through the belly, up through the chest, and then on the exhale, allowing that chest to lower and the belly to come in. Just listening to the sound of your own breath. Tuning into your mind. Where am I at? The sound of your own breath is actually going to calm your wandering mind. Breathing has been one of my biggest lifesavers. You can even do Sitali Pranayam. Can you curl your tongue? And like sipping in through the straw. Exhaling out the nose. Do that 26 times. All of these different breath exercises will help you to calm and cool and cleanse yourself. There's some of my first go-tos, along with just closing my eyes and going within and really tuning in and tapping in with my inner child for that child wound, to healing, to reconnecting, because many of us have this inner child that feels like we've abandoned it, which is why some of us fear abandonment. Hey, I'm pointing at myself because I know. I expressed that 2 days ago in my video, that one of my biggest fears in my life has been the fear of abandonment. And I see it directly correlated with when my dad left during that period when my sisters and I had gone through that molestation. That the idea that, you know, somebody who I looked up to was unable to step into their role as a parent and a man, you know, for their daughters, that's tough. I can't even imagine what he deals with. And we've had this conversation. I had to sit down with my dad. I had to say, why did you leave? Why couldn't you man up? And I know that's a hard thing to hear or to say, because it was for me. But we're all human. Some people like loud noises. That really hits a nerve in my ears. Wow. Sophie, we're definitely going to do a video, because I want to bring you on and we can do that. My question, Sophie, is if you're able to go live on your computer, maybe? I don't know. We may have you do a live in the group, so it'll be private, and then I'll join you that way. But I'd like to extend that invitation to you if you want to discuss that further, because that was my intention for this particular live. So sharing this video in groups where you feel people can benefit, I appreciate each and every one of you. My battery is kind of low, and I want to make sure I don't die off like I did the other day. I'm watching the jumping fish in the water. This is really cool. It's really rad. I was going to try to carry with me the stick to kind of keep the phone charged, but then I wouldn't necessarily have the clearest volume on it, this video either. So I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If any of you out there is interested in doing some one-on-one with me, just to discuss whatever's going on in your life, reach out. We can talk about doing a live in the group, whatever feels comfortable. I'm here for you. I love you all. Big hugs and kisses. And yes, we have a serious, another eclipse is coming up. We're coming up with a new moon solar eclipse next week. Okay? I love you all. Create a new post in the group. Make sure you've introduced yourself too. Thank you, Dawn. Have an amazing evening. Get out in nature. Listen to the water and the sound of the wind. Just really tune in to what it is that you can see and appreciate in your life. What is calling your soul? What brings your heart? And what makes you whole? I love you.